Every motorcycle enthusiast talks about Harley's legendary status and iconic heritage, but none mention the brutal truth about the company's biggest failures. What if I told you that some of Harley's most celebrated and marketed motorcycles were complete disasters that left owners stranded, broke, and questioning their brand loyalty? That's not dramatic. Poor engineering and misguided marketing have destroyed more Harley dreams than any competitor ever could. Imagine finally buying that dream Harley you've saved for years only to discover it's a mechanical nightmare disguised as American legend. In this video, I'm breaking down the 12 most overhyped Harley-Davidson motorcycles that the company desperately wants you to forget. And trust me, the #1 choice will blow your mind. It was so catastrophically overhyped that it nearly destroyed the brand's reputation entirely. Watch every second, because this isn't just motorcycle criticism. It's the difference between making an informed purchase or becoming another victim of Harley's marketing machine. Number 12. The oddities in Sprint 350 and the Topper. Starting our countdown with Harley-Davidson's most embarrassing product strategy failures. In a desperate attempt to compete with foreign manufacturers and diversify their product line, Harley embarked on a series of completely misguided ventures in the mid-20th century that betrayed everything the brand represented. These included rebadging Italian-made Ermaci motorcycles as Harleys and producing the Topper scooter, products that were fundamentally misaligned with Harley's identity but marketed as authentic Milwaukee iron. The company was so desperate to expand into new markets that they slapped the Harley-Davidson mystique onto machines that had no business wearing the Eagle logo. The reality was brutal. The Sprint 350 was described by riders as completely unrideable due to its terrible suspension system that sent every road jolt straight through the rider's spine. These weren't just inferior motorcycles. They were mechanical disasters that lacked any authentic connection to what made Harley-Davidson special. The Topper scooter represented perhaps the most tone-deaf product decision in company history. Harley tried to convince American riders that a scooter could somehow embody the rebellious spirit and freedom that defined the brand. The market response was swift and merciless rejection. These models are now relegated to historical footnotes, representing a fundamental failure of product strategy where corporate desperation overcame brand authenticity. They were overhyped through misguided marketing that attempted to expand Harley's reach without understanding what made the brand legitimate in the first place. Number 11. Harley-Davidson Electroglide, early 2010s models. The Electroglide stands as one of touring's most legendary motorcycles, earning decades of reputation as the ultimate road trip machine known for bulletproof reliability and unmatched comfort. This iconic status became a core component of Harley-Davidson's brand identity and a selling point that justified premium pricing. However, the reputation for unyielding reliability was catastrophically overhyped during specific model years. The 2010 to 2012 Electroglides were plagued by a widespread and devastating issue that destroyed the bike's legendary dependability claims. Systematic lifter failures that could cause complete engine destruction. The problematic C-lifter was prone to sudden failure, leading to catastrophic internal engine damage and expensive rebuilds that often cost more than the bike's remaining value. Motorcycle forums from this era are filled with horror stories of engines failing at surprisingly low mileage, leaving owners with massive repair bills on machines they'd purchased specifically for their reliability reputation. The problem became so widespread and damaging to the brand that Harley-Davidson eventually switched to a more robust lifter design in later models, essentially admitting the original component was fundamentally flawed. But the damage was done. Thousands of owners discovered that their bulletproof touring machine was actually a mechanical time bomb. This represents a perfect example of how a single critical component failure can completely undermine decades of carefully cultivated reputation. The Electroglide itself remains a fantastic touring platform, but the perception of its unyielding durability was brutally shattered by systematic quality control failures that betrayed customer trust at the worst possible moment. Number 10. Harley-Davidson Roadster, 2016 to 2020. The Roadster was marketed as Harley's bold solution to the Sportster's well-documented shortcomings. Company marketing positioned it as a chameleon, the perfect blend of cruiser comfort and touring capability with dramatically improved handling and a more aggressive riding posture designed to attract younger, performance-oriented riders. The reality was a motorcycle that failed to find any significant market acceptance. Its high price tag of around $11,000 created a difficult value proposition when competitors offered superior comfort, handling, and overall performance for similar or lower costs. While the suspension represented a genuine improvement over other Sportsters, riders consistently found the bike's handling characteristics to be sluggish and prone to instability during aggressive cornering. The promised performance improvements were marginal at best, failing to justify the premium pricing or deliver the transformative riding experience that marketing had promised. The ergonomics remained problematic, creating discomfort during longer rides and failing to solve the fundamental issues that had plagued the Sportster platform for years. The Roadster's general inability to establish a clear identity or target audience ultimately led to disappointing sales figures and rapid discontinuation. The Roadster was overhyped as the definitive answer to long-standing Sportster criticisms. The harsh reality was a motorcycle that went too far for traditionalists who preferred classic Sportster character, but not nearly far enough for performance riders who demanded genuine capability improvements. It became a cautionary tale of a product that failed to satisfy any constituency. Number 9. Harley-Davidson Sportster S, 2021 to present. The Sportster S arrived with massive anticipation as a complete reinvention of Harley's most legendary nameplate. Marketing positioned it as a modern, high-performance cruiser featuring a powerful, liquid-cooled Revolution Max engine and advanced electronics including traction control and TFT display technology. It represented a bold new direction intended to carry the classic Sportster legacy into the contemporary era. The Sportster S suffered from a profound identity crisis that prevented it from satisfying any target audience effectively. Traditional Harley enthusiasts immediately rejected its futuristic styling and liquid-cooled engine, arguing it wasn't authentically Harley enough to deserve the revered Sportster name. Meanwhile, performance-oriented riders who might have appreciated the modern technology found significant flaws that undermined the riding experience. The suspension was consistently criticized as inadequate for serious performance riding, while the ridiculously small fuel tank provided only about 70 miles of range, making highway touring practically impossible. Early production models were plagued by software glitches, ECU errors, and battery issues that created reliability concerns completely at odds with Harley's premium positioning. Some bikes reportedly shut down unexpectedly during highway riding, creating dangerous situations that destroyed confidence in the platform. The Sportster S represented a motorcycle that, in its desperate attempt to please everyone, ultimately appealed to an extremely small market segment. It became what critics called a sporty boulevard cruiser that didn't excel in any specific area, too modern and unfamiliar for the traditional base, too flawed and compromised for serious performance riders. Number 8. Harley-Davidson CVO models, General. The custom vehicle operations line represents Harley-Davidson's attempt to create the ultimate expression of luxury and exclusivity. These limited production models feature premium components, custom paint schemes, and the largest engines available from the factory, marketed as high-end investments for discerning riders who demand the absolute best. The CVO's primary appeal centers on its status as an expensive showpiece, but this exclusive positioning creates its biggest fundamental flaw. These motorcycles are prohibitively expensive and consistently fail to deliver proportional performance improvements when compared to competitors or even standard Harley models. CVO motorcycles function primarily as marketing exercises designed to enhance the brand's image of performance and luxury, but they rarely see significant road use. Owners who do accumulate substantial mileage discover that the bike's values plummet dramatically if damaged or customized, directly contradicting Harley's core ethos of personalization and individual expression. The high price points, combined with an almost exclusive focus on aesthetics over practical performance improvements, make CVO models poor investments for average riders who actually want to use their motorcycles. The premium components often provide marginal real-world benefits while adding complexity and maintenance costs. CVO models represent overhyped status symbols that promise high-end performance but deliver expensive showpieces with questionable value propositions. Their limited production numbers and premium marketing create artificial scarcity that justifies prices that can't be defended on performance or practical grounds. Number 7. 1977 Harley-Davidson Confederate Edition. The 1977 Confederate Edition stands as perhaps Harley-Davidson's most controversial and tone-deaf product release in company history. Launched just 1 year after the successful bicentennial Liberty Edition, this limited-run series featured special paint schemes and Confederate battle flag decals applied to popular models including the Electra Glide, Super Glide, and Sportster. Even setting aside the culturally offensive and historically problematic branding choices, the motorcycle itself was a mechanical disaster that embodied everything wrong with AMF-era production quality. It was essentially a standard Electra Glide powered by the notoriously unreliable 1200cc shovelhead engine that had become infamous for chronic oil leaks, persistent overheating problems, and frequent roadside breakdowns. The Confederate Edition offered nothing special beyond its controversial paint scheme. No performance improvements, no enhanced reliability, no unique features that justified its limited edition status. It was a flawed product that served as a dual failure of both cultural sensitivity and engineering competence. The bike's current rarity in the collector market stems not from its quality or desirability, but from its infamy as both a cultural and mechanical misstep that the company undoubtedly prefers to forget. Most examples were likely abandoned due to mechanical failures or quietly repainted to remove the embarrassing Confederate imagery. The Confederate Edition was overhyped through its limited edition marketing status, while representing everything problematic about both AMF-era quality control and corporate decision-making that ignored cultural sensitivities for the sake of controversial attention. Number 6. 1981 Harley-Davidson Sturgis. The 1981 Sturgis should have been a triumph for Harley-Davidson. Named after the legendary motorcycle rally that embodies American motorcycle culture, it was marketed as a limited edition model featuring innovative belt drive technology and the classic shovelhead engine wrapped in special edition mystique. Instead, the Sturgis became a mechanical nightmare that perfectly exemplified the lingering quality control problems of the AMF era. The 80 cubic inch shovelhead engine was notorious for violent oil leaks that left stains wherever the bike was parked, brutal vibrations that literally shook components loose during rides, and chronic overheating issues that left riders stranded. The innovative belt drive system, positioned as a major technological advancement and key selling point, proved to be completely unreliable in real-world conditions. Belts snapped under normal riding stress and wore down rapidly, stranding riders far from help and requiring expensive replacements that were difficult to source. The combination of an unreliable engine and an unproven drive system created a motorcycle that was fundamentally untrustworthy for any serious riding, completely contradicting its marketing as a premium, special edition machine worthy of the Sturgis name. The Sturgis represented a classic example of limited edition marketing being applied to a fundamentally flawed platform. The special badges and unique styling couldn't disguise the underlying engineering and assembly problems that made it a symbol of corporate mismanagement during Harley's darkest period. If you're finding these mechanical disasters as shocking as I hoped, make sure you're subscribed because we're about to reveal some modern Harley failures that prove the company still hasn't learned from its past mistakes. Number 5. Harley-Davidson Fat Boy 1990 to present. The Fat Boy's legendary status is almost entirely a product of Hollywood, rather than actual motorcycle performance. Its iconic role in the 1991 film Terminator 2 created a cinematic image of a nimble, powerful, and effortlessly cool machine that could perform dramatic stunts and high-speed pursuits with ease. This movie portrayal created completely unrealistic expectations of agility and raw performance that fundamentally misrepresented the bike's actual riding characteristics. Arnold Schwarzenegger's effortless handling of the Fat Boy in the film suggested a lightweight, responsive machine that bore no resemblance to reality. The truth about the Fat Boy is far less cinematic. At nearly 700 pounds, it requires genuine physical strength to countersteer and maintain control during cornering. Riders joke that you need biceps like Arnold Schwarzenegger just to wrestle the bike through basic maneuvers, let alone perform any of the dramatic stunts shown in the movie. The Fat Boy's distinctive flat-profile tires look impressive and provide excellent straight-line stability, but they make the motorcycle actively resistant to leaning and prone to tramlining, following road cracks and surface imperfections that require constant steering corrections and make riding exhausting on anything other than perfectly straight highways. With a lean angle of just 25.6 degrees, the footboards scrape pavement with even moderate cornering, completely betraying the bike's powerful appearance and severely limiting its practical usability in real-world riding conditions. The Fat Boy represents a perfect example of Hollywood hype, creating expectations that are fundamentally incompatible with engineering reality. The film created a perception of effortless performance and agility that leaves many riders disappointed when they discover the physical demands and handling limitations of the actual motorcycle. Number 4. Harley Davidson Street 500 and 750, 2014 to 2020. The Street Series was conceived as Harley Davidson's strategic solution to expand their customer base by creating affordable, accessible entry points into the brand. These motorcycles were extensively marketed as nimble urban cruisers designed to welcome new riders and daily commuters at price points competitive with Japanese alternatives. The goal was to lower traditional barriers to Harley ownership and capture a new generation of motorcyclists who had been priced out of the premium segments. Marketing emphasized accessibility, ease of handling, and authentic Harley character at unprecedented affordability. While the Street Series succeeded in being lightweight and manageable for new riders, it was widely criticized for fundamental shortcomings that completely undermined its value proposition. The most common complaints centered on the bikes feeling cheaply constructed and being significantly underpowered, especially during highway riding. The Street 500 particularly lacks sufficient roll-on power at higher speeds, making freeway riding uncomfortable and potentially dangerous when merging or passing. The extensive use of plastic components and weak exhaust sound alienated riders who expected the signature Harley rumble that defines the brand experience. Many motorcycle enthusiasts argued that for slightly higher prices, a traditional Sportster offered dramatically better value with more power, extensive aftermarket support, and a more authentic Harley feel. The Street Series, in its desperate attempt to hit low price points, diluted the very brand values it was supposed to represent. The Street Series failed because it sacrificed core Harley values of quality and substance in pursuit of affordability. It was overhyped as an accessible gateway to the brand but delivered a diluted experience that failed to create lasting brand loyalty or market impact. Number 3. Harley-Davidson V-Rod, 2002 to 2017. The V-Rod represented perhaps Harley-Davidson's most radical departure from traditional design philosophy. Developed in collaboration with Porsche, it was marketed as a high-performance muscle bike specifically built to compete with foreign manufacturers who were increasingly capturing younger demographic attention with superior performance and technology. The V-Rod's centerpiece was its liquid-cooled Revolution engine, a dramatic technological leap that produced up to 115 horsepower, far exceeding the output of traditional air-cooled V-twins and representing genuine engineering advancement that should have positioned Harley competitively. Despite its undeniable engineering brilliance and impressive performance capabilities, the V-Rod became a cultural outcast that failed to resonate with either of its intended target audiences. Traditional Harley purists rejected it completely for lacking the iconic sound, characteristic vibration, and authentic feel of a real Harley. Meanwhile, the performance-oriented riders it was designed to attract found the motorcycle too heavy and poorly designed for aggressive riding. Its chassis geometry and overall design, heavily influenced by drag racing heritage, meant it excelled in straight-line acceleration, but performed poorly in corners and twisty roads. Consumer opinions on the V-Rod were sharply polarized. The small group of riders who appreciated its performance and reliability became an almost cult-like following, but the majority criticized its uncomfortable ergonomics for long-distance riding and the complexity of basic maintenance tasks like valve adjustments that required dropping the engine from the frame. The V-Rod was overhyped as a revolutionary bridge between traditional Harley heritage and modern performance, but the reality was a motorcycle that satisfied neither constituency. Its failure wasn't mechanical but cultural, demonstrating the profound challenges Harley faces when attempting to innovate beyond its traditional identity. Number 2, Harley-Davidson Pan America, 2021 to present. Following the Livewire's commercial disappointment, the Pan America represented Harley-Davidson's next ambitious attempt to expand beyond traditional cruiser markets. Launched with extensive marketing campaigns, it was positioned as a bold new chapter for the brand. A sophisticated adventure touring motorcycle engineered specifically for off-road adventures and long-distance exploration. The Pan America was loaded with cutting-edge technology, including a new liquid-cooled Revolution, Max 1250 engine, and an innovative adaptive ride height system that automatically lowered the seat when stopped. Marketing promised a direct competitor to established adventure bikes like the BMW R1250 GS, with superior American engineering and build quality. The Pan America's promise was completely contradicted by the harsh reality of its first production years. Early models were plagued by systematic reliability issues that immediately destroyed rider confidence and undermined the bike's premium positioning in a competitive market segment. Reports of sudden power loss during riding, unexpected stalling during gear shifts, and unpredictable throttle response became common complaints, often accompanied by persistent check engine lights that required dealer intervention. The sophisticated adaptive ride height system, marketed as a key technological advantage, became a frequent source of malfunctions, especially in colder climates. While many riders found the Pan America capable when functioning properly, with excellent on-road performance and impressive wind protection, the constant electrical problems and software glitches created a trust deficit that destroyed the ownership experience. The bike required multiple software updates, and many owners reported issues with starter solenoids and battery systems, with some requiring complete ECU reflashing within weeks of purchase. The Pan America was overhyped as a polished, refined competitor when it was actually a first-generation product with serious teething problems that should have been resolved before reaching customers. Number 1. Harley-Davidson Livewire, 2020 to present. The Livewire stands as the ultimate overhyped Harley-Davidson motorcycle and the flagship of the company's misguided modern reinvention strategy. Marketed extensively as a bold leap into the future, it was positioned as a technology-first machine designed to attract younger, urban demographics who had largely ignored traditional Harley offerings. The Livewire was presented as a statement piece intended to silence critics who argued that Harley-Davidson was hopelessly stuck in the past, a technological dinosaur that couldn't adapt to changing market conditions. The bike delivered impressive engineering with instant, ferocious acceleration and a smooth, silent ride completely unlike any previous Harley. Despite widespread acclaim for its performance capabilities and striking styling, the Livewire became a spectacular market failure that highlighted fundamental disconnects between corporate strategy and market reality. The original price of nearly $30,000 created an impossible barrier for the younger demographic it was designed to attract. Harley-Davidson's CEO Jochen Zeitz later blamed inadequate charging infrastructure and slower-than-expected electric vehicle adoption. But these explanations masked more fundamental problems. The bike was simultaneously too expensive for its target market and too dramatically different from traditional Harley values to satisfy existing customers. Consumer Reports praised the bike's raw power and the smooth operation, calling it the ultimate lane splitter, but identified significant issues that undermined the ownership experience. The ergonomics were consistently described as awful, featuring a hard, narrow seat and uncomfortably small foot pegs that made longer rides torturous. The complex controls borrowed from traditional Harleys felt completely out of place on an electric vehicle and created confusion for riders expecting more intuitive interfaces. The limited range, particularly at highway speeds, made the inclusion of cruise control feel almost insulting to riders who couldn't use it effectively. Perhaps most damaging, a companion smartphone app that was initially praised for its functionality was later disabled in a corporate cost-saving measure, abandoning early adopters who had paid premium prices partly for that technological integration. The LiveWire represents the ultimate example of technological success combined with cultural and market miscalculation. It was overhyped as the brand's salvation and gateway to the future, but its premium pricing and unfamiliar character meant it pleased neither the new customers it desperately sought nor the traditional ones it already had. Speaking of finding the right motorcycle for your needs, you need to see my breakdown of the 27 best motorcycles for senior riders in 2025. These bikes prioritize comfort and reliability over flashy marketing.